Chapter 681, Universal Tao Scripture. Universal Tao Scripture. Jian Wushuang frowned. This golden scroll recorded a secret skill called the Universal Tao Scripture. This secret skill described the method for cultivating, but it didn't explain what it actually did. You must be patient and cultivate it. Later on, you will understand how useful it is, Xianxia answered with a hint of mystery. Although Jian Wushuang was confused, he still nodded. He didn't know how useful this secret skill would be, but it was obvious by looking at the cultivation method that it wouldn't harm him. Moreover, he wasn't worried about it because it was given to him by his master. In addition to these three, I know you've also cultivated the immortality secret skill. Xianxia looked at Jian Wushuang. Usually, it's better to cultivate while using natural treasures that improve your physical strength, so I've acquired some for you. They are all in this interspatial ring. Xianxia handed the interspatial ring to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was surprised and happy when he saw it. There were 4 techniques in the immortality secret skill: the bone fusion technique, blood condensation technique, armor technique, and divine body technique. When he was in the ancient world, he had already finished cultivating the bone fusion technique. However, he hadn't started on the blood condensation technique because he lacked natural treasures. Now, he would be able to start cultivating it and even try to reach the advanced level. As his physical body grew stronger, his strength would also skyrocket. I've done what I can. Now, everything else will depend on you, Xianxia said. Thank you, Master. Jian Wushuang expressed his gratitude. Xianxia waved and left while Jian Wushuang stayed in the cave mansion. As he looked at the 72 Tao characters on the stone wall, a spark flashed through Jian Wushuang's eyes. Master has obtained all these resources for me, but how much I can improve depends on myself. I need to work hard. He immediately sat down with his legs crossed, then his figure vibrated and instantly separated into his 2 original bodies. Sword Principle, Sword. His 2 original bodies started to meditate. Since these 2 original bodies both had their own consciousness, they were able to meditate on different Tao characters, which sped up the process. Moreover, he had good talent in Sword Principle and the Tao characters had been simplified, so it was much easier for him to meditate on them. As time flew by, his comprehension of Sword Principle continued improving. While meditating on Sword Principle, he was also working on the World Tao, the Slaughter Tao, and the other 3 secret skills that Xianxia gave to him. Among these 3 secret skills, the Boundless Heaven Sword art required a higher level of comprehension in Sword Principle. As for the Dragon Blood secret skill, he only needed to know the method for burning his spiritual power, the rest would be easy. There were 2 levels for this skill. For the first level, spiritual power was burned slowly and his speed could increase to 10 times his normal speed. However, for the second level, spiritual power was burned at an incredible rate, so even a Divine Realm expert would only last about 10 breaths before their spiritual power was completely exhausted. However, while he was burning his spiritual power, his speed would be hundreds of times faster than usual, so it was the perfect skill for escaping. As for the Universal Tao Scripture, this was a unique secret skill. Jian Wushuang spent a long time studying it before he finally started to cultivate it. However, he didn't notice any difference after completing the cultivation. Perhaps it was like Xianxia said, he would have to wait to understand its benefits. Jian Wushuang focused his attention and meditated at Sword Mountain, totally ignored the passage of time. From spring to winter, time flew by. Without him realizing it, 6 years had passed. At the ancient sect, inside the Tao Palace, many disciples had gathered together and were participating in small talk. Did you hear? 3 days ago, Feng, the personal disciple of Palace Master Destruction, broke through and became a Divine Realm expert. And, since his comprehension of Tao is very high, he has already become an advanced Divine Realm expert. In the future, if he cultivates even more secret skills, he is almost guaranteed to become a superior Divine Realm expert. Superior Divine Realm expert, that's the same level as the Vice Palace Master level of the Tao Palace. Yes, Feng really has good talent. Lots of disciples were impressed by the news. After considering their levels of Tao comprehension, weapon cultivation, original secret skills, and some other means, Divine Realm experts have been divided into 4 levels: novice, intermediate, advanced, and superior. However, there was a huge gap between each level. Even 10 novice Divine Realm experts working together to fight an intermediate Divine Realm expert would be overpowered. But, even novice Divine Realm experts could have big differences in strength between each other. An advanced Divine Realm expert was already counted as a high-level expert. As for superior Divine Realm experts, in the ancient sect, there were numerous Divine Realm experts. The Divine Palace had hundreds of novice, intermediate, and advanced Divine Realm experts, but only a few superior Divine Realm experts. Usually, a superior Divine Realm expert could be a Vice Palace Master of the Dao Palace. Feng had been in the ancient sect for no more than 10 years, but he had already broken through and become an advanced Divine Realm expert. That was really amazing because most of the disciples would only be novice Divine Realm experts when they broke through. A few of them could even reach intermediate Divine Realm in battle strength, but only a couple would possess battle strength at the advanced Divine Realm level. Feng has broken through and become a Divine Realm expert, but what about Jian Wushuang? They came to the ancient sect at the same time and his talent is better than Feng's, so he should have reached an even more amazing level, a disciple suddenly said. Jian Wushuang? I don't know. I heard he has been cultivating at Sword Mountain for several years. It's very seldom that he comes back to Enlightenment Mountain and he hasn't challenged anyone, so no one knows how strong he is. However, he has definitely improved a lot. Even if he still can't break through to the Divine Realm, he will not be weaker than Feng. Yes. After only being in the ancient sect for 2 years, he could already pass the 30th floor of the 9th Heaven Road. Now, he is the personal disciple of Palace Master Xianxia, so he should have made some extremely significant improvements. Chapter 682. Prove Yourself. As the disciples were talking about Jian Wushuang, they couldn't help being amazed. Jian Wushuang had already become a monster in the ancient sect the moment he passed the 30th floor of the 9th Heaven Road during the sect competition. The Sword Mountain was still not noticeable. Whoosh! A figure appeared in the sky above Sword Mountain. The figure turned out to be Xianxia. He glanced at the cave mansion and smiled, then entered it. Jian Wushuang had his eyes closed and was still in the middle of practicing his swordsmanship. Though it's being referred to as swordsmanship, it was actually just a simple sword slash. It was simple, easy, and quick. But when Xianxia saw it, he smiled. Going from complexity to simplicity, that is the proof of having reached profound realm. He has already comprehended the first level of sword heart. Xianxia smiled slightly. At that moment, Jian Wushuang stopped and looked at Xianxia. Master. Jian Wushuang greeted him respectfully. During these 6 years, Xianxia had come to see him every several times and given him advice on many occasions, so he knew that Xianxia was trying to help him. Although 6 years was not that long, they had built a deep friendship. You have been meditating in Sword Mountain for 6 years, it's time for you to leave, Xianxia said with a smile. Jian Wushuang was surprised, but a smile quickly appeared on his face. These 72 Dao characters were indeed very mysterious. In the first couple years of meditating on them, he made dramatic improvements in sword principle. However, his progress eventually began to slow down. Especially recently, his improvement had become very slow. It was still faster than meditating on his own, but compared to when he first started, there was a big difference. Jian Wushuang realized that the 72 Dao characters were less useful now than they were before. In 2 months, the Eternal Zone will reopen, Xianxia said. The Eternal Zone. Jian Wushuang suddenly looked at Xianxia in surprise. The Eternal Zone is an important event in the firmament territory that happens every 100 years, Xianxia explained. When it reopens, lots of disciples from the 3 magnates and 9 top sects will be allowed to enter it. Usually, most of them have broken through to the Divine Realm and some of them are still pretty young, so the 3 magnates and 9 top sects have an agreement. The disciples in the Divine Realm only get 1 chance to enter, and every time only a certain number of disciples from each sect are allowed to go. That means the people who enter are the top disciples from all the sects. These geniuses can enter the outer layer of the Eternal Zone, but only the experts in the Eternal Realm can enter the inner layer. They can stay there for 1 month, and when the Eternal Zone closes, the experts all will come out. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly in acknowledgement. He realized that the Eternal Zone was very unique, otherwise the 3 magnates and 9 top sects wouldn't so pay much attention to it. It's been 100 years already. During this period of time, our ancient sect has found some excellent disciples and you are one of them, so I will arrange for you to enter the Eternal Zone, Xianxia said. Me? Jian Wushuang was astonished. According to what Xianxia said, the disciples who were allowed to enter the Eternal Zone would already have broken through and become Divine Realm experts, but he was only in the skyscraping realm. Even though, based on Tao comprehension and other complex skills, he was capable of breaking through to become a Divine Realm expert, he was not planning to do it right now. After all, the skyscraping realm was the equivalent of the heaven treading realm in the heavenly creation skill, which was the most appropriate level for cultivating, so he wanted to remain at this level longer. Don't worry. Although you are only in the skyscraping realm, your battle strength is definitely good enough. Ordinary Divine Realm experts are not qualified to be your opponents, Xianxia smiled slightly and continued. 6 years ago, you had already passed the 30th floor of the 9th Heaven Road. At that moment, your battle strength was at the peak of the intermediate Divine Realm and almost at the advanced Divine Realm. 6 years have already passed since that time, so you must have had a significant improvement. Just a bit. Jian Wushuang couldn't help laughing. During the last 6 years, he had focused on improving his comprehension of sword principle at Sword Mountain and hadn't paid much attention to the World Tao and Slaughter Tao. However, his talent was pretty high, so even if he only spent a small amount of time meditating on them, his comprehension of these 2 Tao still had a significant improvement. Now, he had already comprehended the 4th occult and most of the 5th. The most important point was that his current understanding of sword principle was completely different from 6 years ago. 6 years ago, he had to do his best to reach the 31st floor of the 9th Heaven Road, but he was still defeated by the 10 puppet fighters. However, 5 years ago, he passed the 31st floor. Obviously, his strength was at an even higher level now. We of the ancient sect usually arrange for the genius disciples who are in the advanced divine realm to enter the Eternal Zone, so you only need to prove that you have the battle strength of an advanced divine realm expert. I've got a task from the Divine Palace for you. This task can help you prove yourself. Xianxia passed a task scroll to Jian Wushuang. A task. Jian Wushuang opened it and took a quick glance. Immediately after that, he had an odd expression on his face. Earth-level task. In the Divine Palace, the tasks assigned to the Divine Realm experts were divided into levels: the human level, earth level, and heaven level. The human level was the easiest, so novice and intermediate Divine Realm experts were able to complete them easily. However, the earth-level tasks were very difficult and only advanced Divine Realm experts would be capable of completing them. As for the heaven-level tasks, they could only be assigned to the superior Divine Realm experts. Xianxia got him an earth-level task which was also at a difficult level. Task content: kill 11 evil Divine Realm experts who are in the vicinity of the ancient sect. The task would only be complete once the 11 Divine Realm experts were all killed. The scroll contained the information and locations of these 11 Divine Realm experts. Among these 11 Divine Realm experts, the weakest one was at the peak of the intermediate Divine Realm. There were also 5 advanced Divine Realm experts and one of them, Hu, was a peak advanced Divine Realm expert. He was not going to be easy to deal with. Chapter 683, Emperor Sword. Master really thinks highly of me as he asks me, a skyscraping realm cultivator, to kill Divine Realm experts, including 5 advanced Divine Realm experts. Jian Wushuang sighed with emotions in private. After all, there was a world of difference between beating someone and slaying them. A Divine Realm expert, especially an advanced expert, often held 1 or 2 secret skills. Some of them were even capable of life-saving secret skills like Dragon Blood secret skill. Jian Wushuang might have the ability to defeat an advanced Divine Realm expert, but he didn't hold much confidence in slaying one. As though he already knew what Jian Wushuang was thinking, Xianxia spoke. Rest assured, I personally selected this mission for you. The 11 Divine Realm experts all share the same skill in battle strength. None of them are very capable of life-saving skills. Given your strength, you can surely kill them. Is that so? Jian Wushuang asked, his confidence now growing. If they were unable to perform excellent life-saving techniques, it was possible that he could indeed kill them. This is the map of the territory which is under our ancient sect's control. The 11 divine realm experts are within this territory. You can study the route yourself and you must kill them all in 2 months, instructed Xianxia. Okay. Jian Wushuang took the map and nodded his head. There is one more thing. Xianxia looked at Jian Wushuang. The sword you're using now was brought by you from the ancient world, correct? It can barely reach the divine weapon level. It is most suited to some novice or intermediate divine realm experts. It's not very suitable for you. Jian Wushuang was in a daze. The sword he used? Heart-killing sword? Indeed, he had brought it from the ancient world after acquiring from a sword ancestor. Divine weapon? Jian Wushuang queried. Above Dao weapon was divine weapon. Plenty of experts used Dao weapons, but there was few divine weapons in the ancient world. It was only thanks to a sword ancestor that Jian Wushuang was eligible to get a divine weapon. He had to this point been using the heart-killing sword effortlessly, but as he grew stronger, he found it was no longer capable of displaying his full strength. I have a sword for you. Take it. Xianxia stretched out his hand in which appeared a purple long sword. As soon as it showed up, an extremely strong killing intent of the sword spread at once, which instantly made Jian Wushuang understand that the purple longsword was also a sword of killing like his heart-killing sword, but its power was much stronger. Master, what's this? Jian Wushuang gazed upon this purple longsword. Its sword blade was thin and its sword edge was emitting a glowing cold light, making it appear very sharp. This is Emperor Sword, a magic weapon of eternal realm level. Xianxia smiled casually as he spoke. Divine weapon. Jian Wushuang's heart skipped a beat. There was Dao weapon, divine weapon, and then eternal weapon. Dao weapons were most commonly used by skyscraping realm cultivators. Divine weapons were usually used by divine realm experts. Jian Wushuang's heart-killing sword only just reached the level of divine weapon, therefore it was suited to novice and intermediate divine realm experts. Advanced divine realm experts and superior divine realm experts used divine weapons with superior power. Eternal weapons, on the other hand, were used by eternal realm experts. This sword contains unusual power. Given your ability now, you cannot harness all of its power, but if you can access just a small amount of it, that will give you enough strength. I also want you to take this token. When on a difficult journey, you'll inevitably encounter a crisis. If all else fails, you can crush this token and I'll do my best to save you, promised Xianxia. Thank you, Master. Jian Wushuang spoke gratefully. He knew in his heart that his master sincerely cared for him. That's all. Set out as early as possible. Xianxia waved his hand. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly and bowed respectfully to Xianxia before turning around to leave. Jian Wushuang planned to return to Enlightenment Mountain first. On his journey back, he encountered many ancient sect disciples. Jian Wushuang. That's Jian Wushuang. He has not been seen for a long time. I have been told that he has been staying in Sword Mountain for cultivation. Does he want to leave today? These disciples kept their distance, looking at Jian Wushuang from afar, their eyes full of awe. Jian Wushuang also met 2 palace masters who happened to walk by. They were Palace Master Destruction, who was Feng's master, and Palace Master Baiyu, who had once intended to accept Jian Wushuang as a personal disciple. They watched Jian Wushuang in the distance. It's Jian Wushuang. He has been staying in the Sword Mountain for cultivation and for the past 6 years has not shown his strength. I wonder how strong he is now, Palace Master Baiyu said with admiration. I have heard that Palace Master Xianxia had just gotten a mission at the Divine Palace and it's an Earth-level task. It seems Jian Wushuang has been tasked with this mission, Palace Master Destruction observed. Earth-level task? Are they not reserved for advanced divine realm experts? Palace Master Baiyu looked perplexed. No. Claimed the Palace Master Destruction as a bitter smile stretched across his face. He himself also had accepted a favorite disciple to his sect, Feng, who he knew was much weaker than Jian Wushuang. This lad really is a beast. Palace Master Baiyu softly shook his head. At that moment, he caught sight of the purple long sword on Jian Wushuang's back. Heh! The expression on Palace Master Bayu's face suddenly froze. "What's the matter, Bayu?" Palace Master Destruction looked at him with confusion. "Palace Master Destruction, look closely. Is that the Emperor sword strapped to his back?" Palace Master Bayu spoke, his tone displaying a hint of shock. "Emperor sword?" Palace Master Destruction was left dumbfounded as he saw Jian Wushuang carrying the purple long sword. Seeing this, the expression on Palace Master Destruction's face tightened. "Good lord, Palace Master Xianxia actually gave him the Emperor sword. It is clear that he holds Jian Wushuang in high regard." Palace Master Destruction explained. "The Emperor sword isn't just an eternal weapon. Most importantly, it is Sword Palace's token, representing the successor of the Sword Palace." Palace Master Bayu's eyes gleamed. Soon after Jian Wushuang returned to Enlightenment Mountain, he took time to pack some things, ready to leave the ancient sect to complete the Earth-level task. In front of a giant wormhole in the ancient sect, Jian Wushuang held the territory map from Xianxia in his hand and carefully studied it. The territory under the control of the ancient sect is extremely vast, and the 11 divine realm experts that I need to kill are scattered across the territory. It will be difficult to kill them one by one. The first place I'm going is here. He looked at a city on the map, Danyang City. Chapter 684, Danyang City. Danyang City was within the vast territory under the control of the ancient sect. It was a very ordinary, small city. This kind of city was home to many warriors, but few experts. According to the information given to Jian Wushuang, there were many families in the city. Among these families, even the strongest cultivators were only at the novice or intermediate divine realm. There were no advanced divine realm experts. Not long ago, a great demon named Bingji suddenly appeared in Danyang City. With immense strength, he quickly overpowered and slaughtered many of the divine realm experts from the city. Many families lost both experts and warriors at the hands of Bingji. Helpless, these families sought help from the ancient sect. There was a family named He. The He family were among the most respected in Danyang City. With 3 intermediate divine realm experts, the He family enjoyed a combined strength unrivaled by other families. However, with only 1 intermediate divine realm expert left, and the deaths of quite a few novice divine realm experts, their strength had significantly declined. Jian Wushuang approached the gate of the large mansion of the He family. "Who are you?" demanded one of the 2 guards that stopped Jian Wushuang. Without speaking, Jian Wushuang waved his hand as he produced a token. It was the disciple token of the ancient sect. An ancient sect disciple. The 2 guards were amazed to see the token. One of them said hurriedly, "Lord, wait a minute, please. I'll report to our master immediately." With that, the guard turned and headed for the mansion. There were dozens of people gathered in the large meeting hall of the He family. All doors and windows had been tightly sealed. Taking the lead of the meeting was a gray-haired elder. He was He Yun, the current master of the He family and the only surviving intermediate divine realm expert of the family. Others were some experts from the He family as well as masters and experts belonging to other families of Danyang City. These families had formed an alliance since Bingji appeared in Danyang City. He Yun, the Bingji threatens to wipe out every family in Danyang City if we cannot pay a ransom to him of 500,000 divine gems within 24 hours. What should we do now? A white-robed, old lady frowned worryingly as her voice echoed throughout the meeting hall, making the atmosphere become even tenser. 500,000 divine gems. He demands too much. 500,000 divine gems. Ha ha, collectively, the families here have barely been able to accumulate 1 million over the years, and he expects us to pay out 500,000 in one go. Hump. We will not pay. If it comes to a life and death battle, then so be it. The divine realm experts present spoke, full of irritation and anger. 500,000 divine gems was a fortune to the families of Danyang City. After all, the assets of an eternal realm expert would add up to 1 million divine gems, and most of the superior divine realm experts had only a few 100,000 divine gems or so. Due to years of accumulation, these families would be able to offer some gems, but 500,000 divine gems was still far more than they could afford. Enough. Silence. A notably distinguished voice rang out. He-Yun, sitting at the head of the room, finally opened his mouth to speak. Bing-Ji is a true advanced divine realm expert, and you all know very well the difference between an advanced divine realm expert and an intermediate divine realm expert. To put it bluntly, he's capable of killing all of us in this room single-handed. Do you want to fight against him? In doing so, are you not courting death? Hearing this, the divine realm experts in the hall became silent. Fight against Bing-Ji? They had tried this before, with little success. In their last encounter, a number of divine realm experts had died, as well as 2 intermediate divine realm experts from the He family, without Bing-Ji being hurt in the slightest. The gap between intermediate and advanced divine realm experts was immense. Since he wants divine gems, we can give them to him for the time being. He-Yun continued, I have already sent a message to the ancient sect for help. Its expert will arrive soon. When the expert is here, Bing-Ji can't run amok anymore. As for the divine gems that we hand over, we can get it back then. The best we can do for the ancient sect expert is to ensure that he gets everything he needs. Well said. Bing-Ji may be an advanced divine realm expert, but is no match for the ancient sect. We'll wait until the expert sent by the ancient sect arrives. The divine realm experts all agreed with He-Yun, happily awaiting the arrival of the ancient sect expert. After all, their combined strength would still not be enough to fight Bing-Ji, though the ancient sect could easily kill him. What I fear most is that once we give Bing-Ji the divine gems, he will immediately flee and the ancient sect expert will make a futile trip. At that time, we'll still suffer, so we must find ways to hold him here until the expert arrives. When He-Yun was talking, the closed door suddenly swung open and a figure entered the room. It was the guard who came to report. How dare you interrupt? He-Yun's face darkened. Master, lords, there's someone waiting at the door with the disciple token of the ancient sect. Not only that, but it's an inner disciple token, the guard blurted out. What? The divine realm experts in the hall were at first surprised, and then became ecstatic. The ancient sect expert has arrived. He-Yun jumped up in excitement. Then he spoke. Quickly, invite him in. Yes, sir. The guard hurried out to invite Jian Wuxuan inside. Everybody, let us go welcome him in, commanded He-Yun. Everyone left the hall to welcome Jian Wuxuan, who was soon visible to this group of divine realm experts. But when they looked closer at Jiang Wuxuan, is this a joke? He-Yun, the Grand Master of the He family and an intermediate divine realm expert, widened his eyes. Skyscraping realm. As a divine realm expert, he had an uncanny ability of perceiving aura. He instantly recognized the young man in front of him as a skyscraping realm cultivator, a fact that would not change even though this young man seemed to be an expert. How could they send a skyscraping realm cultivator? The divine realm experts present had become faint. They had expected a savior, but instead they got a skyscraping realm cultivator. Who's He-Yun, Master He? Jian Wuxuan stood in front of this group of experts, and he looked around indifferently. He-Yun's face had turned pale, his heart sunk. After hearing Jian Wuxuan's words, he answered in a weak voice. I am. Chapter 685, Savior. My name is Jian Wuxuan, and I have been tasked with killing Bing-Ji for you, Jian Wuxuan declared. Oh. He-Yun nodded his head, obviously a little underwhelmed. Seeing this, Jian Wuxuan couldn't stop his face becoming darker. He couldn't help but notice the look of despair on the faces of the people looking back at him. These people don't take me seriously because I'm a skyscraping realm cultivator. But they're right. After all, I need to kill an advanced divine realm expert. It's hard to imagine a skyscraping realm cultivator slaying an advanced divine realm expert, so it's understandable that they have little faith. Jian Wuxuan thought to himself. At this moment, a novice divine realm expert in the crowd took one look at Jian Wuxuan and curled his lips, then muttered, "He's merely at the skyscraping realm, but takes slaying Bing-Ji so flippantly. It seems disciples from the ancient sect aren't quite what we thought. Unfortunate, I had high hopes for the ancient sect, but it would seem the ancient sect is just so. The voice of the novice divine realm expert was little more than a whisper, but still Jian Wushuang heard what he said. Instantly, the look in Jian Wushuang's eyes turned to a steely gaze as the essence of the sword became obvious. Boom! The essence of the sword suddenly seemed to envelop the whole world, and it was as though time stood still. What is it? Such a terrible essence. It's just too strong. I've seen a top divine realm expert, knowledgeable in sword principle, display his skills, though even his essence wasn't as violent as this. The divine realm experts, who had almost felt hopeless, suddenly began to take notice, shocked. They could feel the obvious power held by this sword. The novice divine realm expert who had spoken so freely earlier now had a look of terror on his face. His eyes full of fear as he stared at Jian Wushuang. Frozen in place, he dared not move for fear that this young man in front of him, whom he had so underestimated, would kill him in an instant. He now had no doubt that the person stood in front of him possessed the ability to kill him with little effort. But clearly this man was merely a skyscraping realm cultivator. He didn't know Jian Wushuang was just at the skyscraping realm, but the latter had not only created Sword Heart but completely consolidated his ability at the first level of Sword Heart through 6 years of meditation in Sword Mountain. This made Jian Wushuang stronger than many Eternal Realm experts who specialized in sword principle. The power and essence contained within his sword could easily slay novice Divine Realm experts and even intermediate Divine Realm experts. I have come to complete a task. If you don't cooperate, you too will suffer the consequences. Jian Wushuang's voice became cold. Misunderstanding. This is a mere misunderstanding, Lord. He Yun immediately changed his attitude, and even his tone had become humble and respectful. From what Jian Wushuang had just displayed, he could see that Jian Wushuang retained battle strength far beyond that of an ordinary skyscraping realm cultivator. His strength at the very least was more than his own and possibly even much stronger. Hope among the other divine realm experts had been rekindled. Lord, how will you deal with Bingji? He Yun asked in a low voice. That's none of your business. I have my own way of killing him. Jian Wushuang didn't bother to engage in small talk. Fine. He Yun nodded. Bingji gave the few families here a day to prepare divine gems. Barring a miracle, he will be here tomorrow to kill us all. Please take this opportunity to kill him, Lord. There is no need to wait until tomorrow. Take me to see him today. Jian Wushuang ordered. On the way, he had carefully studied the information he had on the 11 divine experts who he would kill. He had paid special attention to who, the strongest among them, for he was confident of killing the others with ease. Furthermore, he only had 2 months and a lot of time would be used up just finding these divine realm experts. Therefore he had no time to waste. Today. He Yun was shocked. After contemplating this request, he nodded in agreement. Okay, Lord, follow me please. With that, he led Jian Wushuang to where Bingji was. The experts from the other families glanced at each other before following them. Before long, He Yun and Jian Wushuang were in front of a towering building. The building was once home to the largest shop in Danyang City, but now it was occupied solely by Bingji. Bingji and his underlings gathered here regularly. Lord, Bingji is right in this building. It was obvious that He Yun was a little nervous. Jian Wushuang nodded. He had noticed a strong aura coming from inside the building, which he knew must belong to Bingji. Master He, I assume you have thought it through and are here today to give our Lord the divine gems. A sneering voice was heard, and with that, some figures flew out of the building, headed by a middle-aged man with an evil scowl and a grim smile spread across his face. His aura made it known that he was an intermediate divine realm expert. This is Yuan Qian, an expert serving under Bingji. Many years ago he had a falling out with the He family. He was then hunted by my family and fled to other cities. Now he is the strongest among the divine realm experts serving under Bingji, He Yun whispered into Jian Wushuang's ears. Oh. Jian Wushuang replied nonchalantly. It was clear he didn't take this intermediate divine realm expert seriously. Jian Wushuang, an ancient sect disciple, comes to slay Bingji under orders. Jian Wushuang spoke clearly and his voice thundered throughout the whole of Danyang City. What did you say? Upon hearing this, the expressions of Yuan Qian and the divine realm experts serving under Bing Ji changed. An ancient sect disciple. Yuan Qian looked at Jian Wushuang intensely. But when he perceived Jian Wushuang's aura was merely at the skyscraping realm, his expression lightened. Ha ha ha. Yuan Qian laughed as though he had just heard the best joke in the world. He stared at Jian Wushuang, with a hint of ridicule in the eyes. Boy, what did you just say? Did you say you're here under orders to kill our Lord? Am I hearing this correctly? Boy, repeat what you have just said. The Bing Ji underlings all looked at Jian Wushuang as if they were looking at a fool. The presence of an ancient sect disciple was indeed a big deal and certainly something for them to worry about. But this ancient sect disciple in front of them was merely a skyscraping realm cultivator. This skyscraping realm cultivator had threatened to kill their Lord Bing Ji, an advanced divine realm expert. Surely this was a joke. However, it was obvious that Jian Wushuang was not one inclined to repeat himself. The Emperor's sword was already in his hand and he began to wave his weapon. Chapter 686. Fighting against an advanced divine realm expert. There was a huge gap between the different levels of divine realm experts. An intermediate divine realm expert was at least 10 times stronger than a novice divine realm expert, and the gap between a skyscraping realm expert and a divine realm expert was even greater. Everyone present were at least divine realm experts, and Yuan Qian was an intermediate divine realm expert. Why would he be concerned about Jian Wushuang, a skyscraping realm cultivator? When he saw Jian Wushuang wield the sword, he laughed dismissively. You must have a death wish. But when Jian Wushuang's sword was used correctly, the beautiful sword made people feel intoxicated with even its most basic movements. This sword seemed as though it was flawless. Ha! As Yuan Qian watched the fluid movements of the sword, he was surprised. It would seem the swordsmanship of this skyscraping realm cultivator is quite good. Though he was surprised, Yuan Qian still didn't care about Jian Wushuang. It wasn't until he came face to face with the power of this majestic sword. What? Yuan Qian was stunned. He found that when under attack from the sword, he had no room to dodge. He quickly waved his palms and using his spiritual power, he enlarged his palms which then patted the shadow of the sword. But it was no match. The cold sword edge cut straight through his palm like cutting tofu and continued cutting into his body with ferocious power and pierced through his entire body. Then, with all eyes watching in astonishment, Yuan Qian's figure fell weakly to the ground. Yuan Qian, an intermediate divine realm expert, was killed by a single move. With the sword in his hand, Jian Wushuang stood in the air. The edge of the long sword coldly emitted a slight purple glow, with blood dripping slowly. Jian Wushuang didn't even glance at Yuan Qian, but looked at the towering building ahead as his thundering roar suddenly sounded. Bing Ji, come and face death. 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 Jian Wushuang's voice echoed throughout the whole Danyang city, frightening numerous warriors. Bing Ji, who had been inside the building, could no longer sit still. Moving quickly, he appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Bing Ji was a cold and calculating man with piercing eyes. Dressed in a black robe, he stared at Jian Wushuang, with a hint of horror in his eyes. Although he had stayed inside the building, he had been watching everything that had happened outside. At first he did not take Jian Wushuang seriously, but seeing how Jian Wushuang killed Yuan Qian made him feel nervous. Such swift movement. Yuan Qian is at least an intermediate divine realm expert, but was killed by a single blow. It was partly because of Yuan Qian underestimating his enemy, but his adversary would not be able to strike so swiftly without superior strength. His knowledge of word principle is extensive. Although he is merely at the skyscraping realm, his battle strength is comparable to that of an intermediate divine realm expert and even at their peak. This was Bing Ji's assessment of Jian Wushuang's strength. A disciple of the ancient sect. Bing Ji's pupils shrunk. No sooner have I arrived in Danyang City than I was targeted by the ancient sect. It seems that I must flee. Otherwise. This time they just sent a skyscraping realm disciple. It's irrelevant how strong he is, for his ability is limited, but next time they may send advanced Divine Realm experts, or worse yet, a superior Divine Realm expert to hunt down me. Bing Ji had decided. He had already benefited handsomely during his time in Danyang City, and he felt there was little to gain by staying here, so he had no intention of fighting with Jian Wushuang. Unless necessary, he had no intention of killing any disciples of the ancient sect, let alone a disciple with such excellent sword principle. Leave. Without hesitation, Bing Ji retreated. He Yun and the others were shocked by what they were seeing. They were sure that Bing Ji would be so angry that he wouldn't hesitate to fight and even kill Jian Wushuang, but when Bing Ji showed up, he instead ran away, but what Jian Wushuang did next surprised them even more. You won't escape anymore. Jian Wushuang spoke menacingly. Just then, his figure had turned into a phantom, and he chased Bing Ji so fast that he appeared behind him almost immediately. His speed. Realizing that Jian Wushuang was behind him, Bing Ji's heart sunk. Even though it was clear that Jian Wushuang was merely at the skyscraping realm, he was actually faster than Bing Ji. Admittedly, he was not specialized in speed, but even still, a skyscraping realm cultivator should not be able to catch up with him. When Jian Wushuang appeared, the essence of his sword exploded. As Jian Wushuang waved his hand, the shadow of a sword moving as quick as lightning cut into him. Bastard! The reason I fled was that I have no desire to fall out with the ancient sect. Do you really think I would be afraid of you, a skyscraping realm nonentity? With a roar, Bing Ji cast a glance at Jian Wushuang. He waved his sleeve, then an enormous energy swept out and a statue of a khaki giant, 30 feet tall, suddenly emerged in front of Jian Wushuang. The khaki giant yelled to the sky, then waved his fist, full of energy, and directed it at Wushuang. The khaki giant was merely a product of Bing Ji's energy. It was by no means a superb technique, and the giant wasn't strong. Attack! With a yell, Jian Wushuang slashed relentlessly with the Emperor sword, almost splitting the khaki giant in half with overwhelming force. He then turned the sword toward Bing Ji with violent intentions. What? Bing Ji's face suddenly looked worried. For a long time now, what he had just displayed was enough to defeat even those that were top intermediate Divine Realm experts, but Jian Wushuang bettered it with a single blow from his sword. This made Bing Ji realize that Jian Wushuang's strength might be that of advanced intermediate Divine Realm. Humph! With a cold contemplation, Bing Ji didn't dare to take any more chances. With a turn of his wrist, a saber appeared in his hand. The saber was mercilessly set upon the light from Jian Wushuang's sword, and at the same time, Bing Ji's palm holding the saber doubled in size, thus increasing the saber's power. Battle commenced. Bang! After a thud, Jian Wushuang took a small step back, but Bing Ji was completely knocked off his stride. When he regained his balance, Bing Ji looked dumbstruck. How can this be possible? I, a grand advanced Divine Realm expert, was forced to use my divine weapon and secret skills, including my strongest secret skill, the Thousand Apes Hand, to fight against a skyscraping realm cultivator, and it is I that must retreat? Exactly how strong is he? Chapter 687. Slaughter. This confrontation had left Bing Ji frightened. The strength Jian Wushuang possessed was clearly beyond that of the skyscraping realm and made him, an advanced Divine Realm expert, very worried. D. A sudden cry reverberated through heaven and earth as Jian Wushuang moved rapidly and once more appeared in front of Bing Ji. With an obvious intent to kill, Jian Wushuang struck violently with the Emperor sword. Boy, don't be too arrogant. There was anger in Bing Ji's eyes. He yelled out as his palm, holding the saber, grew drastically once more. Its size and its power, which had previously doubled, now quintupled. The strength being generated obviously quintupled, too. Until now, quintuple strength was his limit. Sky-burying skill. His face turned red as his spiritual power reached a new extreme and he attacked using the saber. This attack was the strongest strike in his arsenal, and used up all his strength. The void seemed to be cut open, and the power of the blade rushed forward with extreme force. The force was so strong that Jian Wushuang couldn't help looking sideways, but a sneer appeared across his mouth. The sword heart, which had already become essence of his consciousness, was slightly shaken, and 70% of the sword heart power activated. Sword Heart was capable of generating attacking power as Sword Soul. But the power achieved with Sword Heart was much stronger than that achieved with Sword Soul. Just 70% of Sword Heart power would be enough to make the power of Jian Wushuang's strike to multiply by as much as 10 times. Bang! As the opponent's attacks collided, the winner of the confrontation appeared. Disaster! The light of the sword light broke out and the waves spread. Bing Ji's palm holding the saber tightly suddenly shook and his hand broke as his whole body fell backwards as though he had been hit by a cannonball. This. Bing Ji was stunned. He had never thought a day would come when a mere skyscraping realm cultivator could outclass him. In fact, Jian Wushuang had spent the 6 years in Sword Mountain focusing on sword principle, but he had also made improvements on his physical form by virtue of some natural treasures. He had been studying the bone fusion technique of the immortality secret skill before, but now he had completed stage 1 of the blood condensation technique. Although it was only the first stage, his body had become significantly stronger. The combination of the spiritual power given by heavenly creation skill and his increased physical strength meant that he could compete with an average divine realm expert now in strength alone. As for his understanding of Tao, he was at the same level as Bing Ji and possibly even stronger. Bing Ji was more skilled than Jian Wushuang when using those secret skills which increased his strength. When his palm grew just now, the power exploded 5 times stronger than usual. Jian Wushuang was not qualified to practice such kind of secret skills now, but his Sword Heart had reached level 1. Once activated, only 70% of it was enough to increase his attacking ability tenfold. In a situation where both opponents were almost the same in all other aspects, one's strength was multiplied by 5 while the other's strength was improved tenfold, creating a huge gap. Hence, Jian Wushuang could easily outclass Bing Ji even if he battled him head-on. Bing Ji couldn't fight against Jian Wushuang, and he had no hope of defeating him in any other aspects. Escape! Bing Ji no longer had the courage to fight Jian Wushuang, and fled hastily. Of course, Jian Wushuang did his best to hunt him down. In terms of the life-saving ability, Bing Ji was not strong, so he couldn't escape quickly, making it easy for Jian Wushuang to hunt him. When Jian Wushuang displayed his swordsmanship, Bing Ji fought back relentlessly, but in the end he was defeated. Above Danyang City, the divine realm experts from the families, who had been watching all this, gasped when they saw Bing Ji attempting to flee, and were even more shocked to see Bing Ji's lifeless corpse fall to the ground. Although they were aware of Jian Wushuang's unusual strength, none of them thought he could kill Bing Ji with his strength alone when he arrived. However, not only did Jian Wushuang kill Bing Ji, but the battle had been so one-sided. Bing Ji, who had been too strong for all divine realm experts present to defeat, couldn't fight against Jian Wushuang. The gap had been too big. This is an ancient sect disciple. The legendary ancient sect disciple is actually quite exceptional. A skyscraping realm cultivator killed an advanced divine realm expert head-on. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would never believe it. The divine realm experts all marveled at it. After this incident, they had a newfound respect for the ancient sect. At that moment, Jian Wushuang, who had put Bing Ji's corpse into his interspatial ring, turned to look at He Yun, informing him, "My task was only to kill Bing Ji. As for those people serving under him, you can deal with them yourself." Then he turned to leave as for those remaining divine realm experts that served under Bing Ji. Without Bing Ji, who was an advanced divine realm expert, and Yuan Qian, who had been killed by Jian Wushuang, they posed no threat, but the families had no intention of letting them go. In the end, save for 2 very lucky divine realm experts that managed to escape, all the others were killed by these families. Soon, harmony returned to Danyang City once more. Of course, the fate of Danyang City had nothing to do with Jian Wushuang. He was only responsible for killing Bing Ji. After the mission was completed, he left and set off to the location of the second target of his mission. Next target, Chunan, a top intermediate divine realm expert. Jian Wushuang studied a mountain below. According to his information, Chunan was hiding in that mountain. Without any hesitation, Jian Wushuang dived toward the mountain. The advanced divine realm expert Bing Ji was killed by Jian Wushuang and had no opportunity to flee. An intermediate divine realm expert would not pose much of a threat. Soon, Jian Wushuang flew out of the mountain and Chunan, who had been killed, was put in his interspatial ring. Next, Jian Wushuang went toward his third target. Slaughter. Jian Wushuang was on a mission of slaughter. Jian Wushuang had known the 11 targets' locations, so it only took him some time to easily find them and directly kill them. Chapter 688. Exchanging Divine Gems. As time went by, there was only half a month left before the deadline passed. Jian Wushuang had already killed 10 of his 11 targets. The last one was the strongest, so Jian Wushuang deliberately left this one till last. Is that who's castle? Jian Wushuang stood with his arms crossed, overlooking the castle built from amethyst in front of him. This large castle was famous in the surrounding territory. Many of the warriors in the surrounding territory knew that this was the residence of a divine realm expert of great strength, who had lived in the castle for many years, and his fame had spread far and wide. He was very clever. He knew that this territory was ruled by ancient sect, and he would be targeted and killed by ancient sect if he committed a crime here. Therefore, although he had been overbearing to the weak, he had never violated the rules of ancient sect. Over the years, he has lived peacefully and had never come into conflict with the ancient sect. Not long ago, however, ancient sect discovered that 1,000 years ago, who cooperated with another expert and killed an ancient sect disciple for a treasure. No one witnessed how they killed the ancient sect disciple, and they had covered it up well. Thus, ancient sect had never connected him with the disciple's death for the past 1,000 years. However, the expert who cooperated with who was caught by the ancient sect, and he revealed everything to save his life. On the surface, he's respectful toward ancient sect and never violates ancient sect's rules, but he actually dares to kill our disciple. This divine realm expert is really smart. Jian Wushuang smiled coldly. Among his 11 targets, 10 had committed severe crimes within the territory ruled by ancient sect. Ancient sect set them as targets because it didn't want too many conflicts within its territory. But the case with who was different. What who had done was unforgivable. He dared to kill an ancient sect disciple, therefore, he must die. Although who is the most important one, it will not be easy to kill him. Jian Wushuang thought. Based on the information he received, although who was only an advanced divine realm expert, he was definitely one of great strength. He was much stronger than Bing Yi and other advanced divine realm experts killed by Jian Wushuang. In addition, as he had lived longer, he would certainly have more skills or trump cards to save his life. Anyway, I will go say hello to him first. I heard that who enjoys a leisurely lifestyle. Jian Wushuang smiled, heading directly toward the castle. In the innermost area of the huge amethyst castle, there was a grand hall. A middle-aged man with bare feet and loose robe which showed his abdominal muscles was lying comfortably on a crystal bed. 2 beautiful maids were serving him, and many beautiful maids were dancing in the center of the hall. Except for these maids, he was the only one in the whole hall. With a pleasant look on his ruddy face, he was enjoying a drink. This man was who. As Jian Wushuang said, he did lead a life of leisure. He had become an advanced divine realm expert long ago, so he had become a local tyrant in the surrounding territory. No one dared to challenge him. He only needed to be cautious and not to violate ancient sect's rules. Although he secretly broke some of the rules, he had covered them up so well that no one had ever accused him of anything. While who was enjoying himself, a servant outside the hall rushed in, knelt down and spoke respectfully. "My lord, a man with an ancient sect inner disciple token came and asked to see you." Ancient sect inner disciple. Who was a little surprised, and his face immediately turned pale. He waved his hand to indicate the maids in the hall to leave. "I have always respected ancient sect and never violated any of its rules. In addition, I seldom have contact with people in ancient sect. Why would an ancient sect disciple come to visit me?" Who frowned and thought. Has ancient sect discovered what I did? He had committed far more than one crime in secret, but he had gotten away with it so far. Did the ancient sect disciple give his name? Who asked. "No," replied the servant. Then he shook his head as he said, "I can tell that he's just a skyscraping realm expert." Skyscraping realm. Who was a little surprised and then relaxed. "It seems that he's not coming to bother me, as a skyscraping realm expert is not qualified to do so. However, he is still an inner disciple of ancient sect. I'd better not to offend him. Go, ask him to come in, Hu said. Yes, said the servant, and he left immediately. Hu stood up and straightened his robe. Before long the servant led Jian Wushuang to the hall. You can leave now, Hu told the servant, waving a hand. The servant bowed and excused himself. Only Hu and Jian Wushuang stood in the hall. Hu looked at Jian Wushuang and noticed his aura indicating that he was indeed a skyscraping realm expert. Ha ha, little brother, how should I address you? What can I do for you? Hu said quite enthusiastically. My name is Jian Wushuang, Jian Wushuang answered indifferently. I happened to pass by the surrounding territory and wanted to buy some treasures. Unfortunately, I've run out of divine gems, so I came to exchange something for divine gems with you. Exchange divine gems. Hu was surprised, but he did not doubt his words. It was common for warriors to exchange treasures for divine gems while on their adventures. However, the treasures were often so valuable or rare that it was not worth exchanging them in the stores, so the warriors would exchange with experts who had sufficient divine gems. Jian Wushuang is an inner disciple of ancient sect, so he doesn't worry about what I may do to him. Hu smiled slightly and then asked, My friend, what treasure do you want to exchange for divine gems? This one. Jian Wushuang produced a black gem. Chapter 689, Sneak Attack. This black gem appeared ordinary and did not shine with luster. However, it gave off an extremely strong killing intent, which was an indication of its extraordinary origin. Jian Wushuang obtained it from a divine realm expert who he had killed. He had no idea what it was exactly, but he did feel that this was something special. What is it? Hu observed the black gem from a distance of 10 meters. He could see that it was extraordinary, but he could not tell its origin from such a distance. Let me have a closer look at the gem, Hu said. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded, slowly stepping forward with the black gem in his hand, came to a stop when he was less than a meter away from Hu. This gem. Hu leaned forward and stared at this black gem intensely. It has rich killing intent. Is this the legendary soldier killing gem? Hu focused all his attention on the black gem, not taking the slightest precautions against Jian Wushuang. The time is right. Jian Wushuang's eyes sparkled with killing intent. The next moment a cold sword shadow burst out with the suddenness of a thunderbolt. The movement of the sword was extremely fast. And too sudden. Although Hu was cautious by nature, it was obvious that he did not consider Jian Wushuang any form of threat as he was just a skyscraping realm expert. In addition, he had been distracted by the black gem, so the sudden sword stroke of Jian Wushuang had completely caught him off guard. What? Even though Hu was rich in combat experience, he was still startled by such a close sword stroke. His eyes were wide open and the hair on his back of neck stood up. In this life-and-death situation, he used all his experience and with great difficulty moved his body slightly. This move meant he avoided being attacked at any vital body parts. However, the long sword still struck Hu on his shoulder. The sharp emperor sword cut through his strong body, which had been enhanced by body reshaping techniques, as easily as cutting through a piece of paper. The long sword cut straight into Hu's shoulder and nearly cut off half of his arm before it came to a stop. Bastard! Hu shouted like a raging lion. Mighty spiritual power surged along his remaining good arm and then to his palm, which was like a huge fan, and slapped toward Jian Wushuang's head with extreme force. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes and moved his body in a weird way to avoid Hu's palm comfortably. At the same time, Hu had stepped backward to create a distance between the two. In the hall, they stood there facing each other. Jian Wushuang, holding his emperor sword, coldly stared at Hu. Hu's half arm hung loosely. A lot of blood gushed from the wound and dripped onto the ground. He stared at Jian Wushuang, with his face turning purple and his eyes full of anger. Boy, what a devious move. Hu growled. Devious. Jian Wushuang sneered. In this world, everyone lives by the law of the jungle. How can you say I'm devious? Also, you were quite devious yourself when you cooperated with an expert and killed the ancient sect disciple, were you not? Hearing these words, Hu was surprised, but then a cold smile appeared on his face. It seems that ancient sect has discovered my secret. But it's so stupid to send a skyscraping realm bug to attempt to kill me. You will die today. I will die. I don't think so. Jian Wushuang smiled coldly. He stopped talking with Hu Hu and rushed forward with speed. As soon as he appeared in front of Hu Hu, he waved his emperor sword and attacked him. With this single move, countless sword shadows seemed to burst out in an instant. He had exerted about 7/10 of the power of the sword heart in his sea of consciousness. Humph, ridiculous. Hu Hu snorted, as a red cloud burst out from his body. This secret skill could greatly increase his strength. At the same time, he turned over his remaining good hand, and in it appeared a double-edged giant axe. The huge axe seemed to weigh at least 1,000 pounds, but Hu Hu held it as though he was holding a feather. He then launched the axe forward. It carried such force with it, that it even created a fierce blast in the air. Jian Wushuang's sword slashed its way toward it. Bang! When the two collided, Jian Wushuang even found himself struggling to remain upright. This guy even has a lot of power in his left arm. Jian Wushuang frowned. His strength at this moment was at the same level as when he killed Bing Ji. He completely crushed Bing Ji, who was in his prime when they had fought. However, he drew with Hu Hu, who only had the use of his left arm, his weaker arm. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised, but Hu Hu was really astonished. My right arm was wounded, but my left arm has not suffered any injuries. But still, my full attack has been parried by this guy of skyscraping realm. Hu Hu glared at Jian Wushuang with a shocked look on his face. He knew in that instant that Jian Wushuang was at least as strong as an advanced divine realm expert. That boy! He dared not to underestimate Jian Wushuang any longer. The red cloud exuding from him became even heavier and formed a red crystal armor to shield him. Hu Hu's aura began to rise. This secret skill. Jian Wushuang observed the red armor surrounding Hu Hu with a serious look. He could tell that Hu Hu was using some secret skill which could multiply his power in a short period of time. It was the same as the Thousand Apes hand used by Bing Ji. However, as Bing Ji was just an ordinary advanced divine realm expert, it only enhanced his offensive power 5 times. Even though Hu Hu had not started his attack yet, Jian Wushuang could see that Hu Hu had cultivated the highest level of his secret skill and could definitely increase his offensive power 8 times or even 10 times. Moreover, Hu Hu's comprehension of Tao was definitely more in-depth than that of Bing Ji. He definitely ranked high among the advanced divine realm experts if he revealed his true strength. Fortunately, I chose to start with a sneak attack and cut his right arm so that he could not go all out, otherwise. Before Jian Wushuang could finish his thought, he suddenly saw that Hu Hu swallowed an elixir in front of him. Chapter 690. Hu Hu's Real Strength. What? Jian Wushuang looked at Hu Hu in astonishment. After Hu Hu swallowed the elixir, the huge wound on his right arm began to recover at a speed visible to a naked eye. His right arm recovered completely in a moment. How could this be possible? Jian Wushuang's face darkened. Hu Hu waved his right arm slowly for a while and a smile appeared on his face. Fortunately, I've collected many treasures these years. The elixir which can heal my injury immediately is extremely precious, but I happen to have one. Hu Hu grinned, staring at Jian Wushuang. You're an ancient sect disciple and a real genius. As a skyscraping realm expert, you possess the strength of an advanced divine realm expert. If you die, I guess the ancient sect will feel extreme loss and pain. Jian Wushuang sneered. Hu Hu, you should know that you'll be the one to die today. Really? Let's see who'll be left standing. As soon as Hu Hu finished his words, he turned into a red shadow and approached Jian Wushuang quickly. With vast spiritual power bursting out from him continuously, he changed the axe to his right hand and hacked toward Jian Wushuang. The sky immediately darkened. Jian Wushuang felt that he was directly suppressed by a horrifying force, which was obviously stronger than that of the 10 divine realm experts he killed before. Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up as bright as lightning. He raised the Emperor sword high with both hands, soaring sword ascents spreading from the sword. Violet Calamity Sword Skill. Jian Wushuang shouted and swung the Emperor sword which was held high up, furiously. A bright purple light appeared suddenly, which instantly overshadowed all the other lights in the area. This beautiful sword stroke contained a terrifying aura. Violet Calamity Sword Skill, which was modified from the Violet Star Destroying Sword Skill, was created by Jian Wushuang and had even greater power. It was a rank 4 superior secret skill. The beautiful sword light met with the violent axe shadow of Hu Hu. The moment they collided, the result was decided in an instant. What? Jian Wushuang watched in shock how his strongest move was directly crushed by the violent axe shadow. After the collision, the residual force of the axe shadow swept toward him. Humph! Jian Wushuang gave a grunt as he was knocked backward. Kid, go to hell! Jian Wushuang heard an angry shout from the top of his head. As soon as he raised his head, he found a huge and furious axe shadow above him which brought him tremendous pressure. He immediately lifted his long sword to block it. Bang! With a loud boom, Jian Wushuang was knocked to the ground so forcefully that a huge deep pit was left at the point of impact and even the whole castle sank. Is he dead? Hu Hu stood in the void with a cold expression, overlooking the huge pit below. Right at this moment, the gravel in the huge pit shifted, followed by a figure that dashed out of the huge pit and appeared in front of Hu Hu. Humph! Hu Hu looked at Jian Wushuang with a cold expression and said, "Boy, you do have a strong body." Hu Hu. Jian Wushuang stared at Hu Hu and said in a deep voice, "I underestimated you, and so has everyone, including the ancient sect. We thought you were at most an advanced divine realm at the top level. No one had expected that you had become a superior divine realm expert." Superior divine realm. Hu Hu smiled non-committally and said, "Though I'm not extremely talented, I'm not a trash without any talent. I've stayed at the advanced divine realm for so many years. Is it strange that I've broken through and entered the level of superior divine realm? I just rarely show my full strength in front of others. Boy, you should feel lucky that you can see my real strength." Lucky? Jian Wushuang nodded slightly and smiled at the same time. "You're right. I really should be lucky to meet you, otherwise the task I received wouldn't be challenging at all." What do you mean? Hu Hu's expression darkened slightly. As he had already shown his strength as a superior divine realm expert, Jian Wushuang should have been frightened. Nevertheless, Jian Wushuang turned out to be excited instead. Hu Hu could see clearly the excitement in Jian Wushuang's eyes. Hu Hu. Jian Wushuang looked at Hu Hu with excitement. "My mission this time is to kill 11 divine realm experts, including 6 medium divine realm experts and 5 advanced divine realm experts. Before I came here, I've already killed other 10 experts. However, they were too weak to force me to exert all my strength. Fortunately, my last goal is you, a superior divine realm expert. I've cultivated in seclusion for 6 years. Now I will use you to test my progress over the past 6 years." A mighty battle intent spread from Jian Wushuang and soared straight into the air. "Use me to test your progress over the past 6 years? How arrogant!" Hu Hu flew into a rage. "Enough talk. Let's fight." Jian Wushuang licked his lips and his eyes sparkled. The next moment he rushed forward. Swoosh! A strange figure suddenly appeared beside Hu Hu. So fast! Hu Hu was shocked at Jian Wushuang's speed. Jian Wushuang drew his sword out. Swoosh! 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 Sword shadows burst out one after another at amazing speed. The condensed sword heart in Jian Wushuang's sea of consciousness was shaking violently as its power reached its extreme. When Jian Wushuang fought with divine realm experts like Bing Ji before or with Hu Hu just now, he only used 70% of the sword heart's power. But now he brought forth its power to full effect. That meant Jian Wushuang was using all his strength. At the same time, with only a thought, the Emperor sword in his hand released terrible killing intent which swept around. An eternal weapon. Hu Hu was taken aback greatly. When Jian Wushuang fought with him before, he had not used the power of Emperor sword. Emperor sword, as an eternal weapon, had much more power than those divine weapons. By virtue of the power of the eternal weapon, the overall strength of Jian Wushuang had been greatly enhanced.